terms, that it is a book written in symbols, and that we shouldn't take it literally. And here you see Psalm 78 too. I will open my mouth. This is God talking. I'll talk in a parable. I will utter dark sayings. Dark sayings are things like allegory and mythological statements. In other words, it looks to you like one thing, but it really means something else. See? Proverbs, it says wisdom in the Bible is to understand a proverb and the interpretation, the words of the wise and their dark sayings. What does it mean? In Matthew 13:34, Jesus spoke to the multitude in parables, and he never spoke without a parable. In other words, everything that you see Jesus saying in the Bible is symbolic. It means something else. 2 Corinthians, we're made ministers of the New Testament, not of the letter, because the letter kills, but the Spirit gives life. Not of the letter. Don't take it literally, is what it's saying. Don't take it literally. And that's what we've done. We've taken all of this stuff literally, and we drop bombs on one another. And here, look at this one. Romans 2. He's a Jew which is one inwardly. The circumcision is of the heart, in the spirit, not of the letter. It's not a physical thing. 2 Corinthians 3:15. But even to this day, when Moses, which means the Old Testament, is read, there's a veil over everybody's face. They don't understand what they're reading. And here it says, Acts 7:48, the Most High, meaning God, doesn't dwell in temples made with hands. It dwells in this temple here. It's on top of your shoulders. This is the temple. This is the only temple that's not made with hands. Luke 17:21, the kingdom of God is within you. 1 Corinthians 3:16, you are the temple of God. The temple is holy. Which temple? You are. That story about Abraham and Sarah is an allegory. There are two covenants. One's talking about Mount Sinai, which is bondage, which is Hagar. The other one's talking about Sarah. But the word allegory means it's a symbolic story. These people never even existed. Nobody in the Bible ever existed. There's not one shred of proof that anybody in the Bible ever existed. And so the Bible, the very Bible, is telling us, don't take this stuff literally. And yet every religion on the face of the earth is exactly what they've done. It was something that came from Tel Aviv University. And we'll put this up real quick. This is from Tel Aviv University. This is from Professor Ziv Herzog. The many Egyptian documents known to us do not make any reference to the children of Israel in Egypt or the events of the Exodus. Generations of scholars tried to locate Mount Sinai and the stations of the tribes of Israel in the desert. Despite all of this, not one site was identified that could correspond to the biblical picture. And basically, there's no evidence about Joshua. There's no evidence about anything. It never happened. And it's wonderful because it means it's mythology, and it does happen. See? So these were stories written by somebody using particular places and names, but actually meaning something that is important for you, your life, your health, your existence upon this planet. And according to these archaeologists from Tel Aviv University in the middle of Israel, none of this stuff ever happened. None of it. It doesn't make any difference whether you want to go crucifixion, Jesus, Mary, all this kind of stuff. It's not that they're not real. They are real, but not in the context of the story. The story is talking about something that goes on inside of you. The Virgin Mary is inside of you. It's Pia Mater, where the child is born, and all of this stuff. But we're going to take that down. So if the Bible doesn't mean what it says, what does it mean? And what I believe we found last week is unquestionable. That the Bible is a document about the human mind. From cover to cover, the Bible is not talking to places on the ground, but talking about places inside of your head, in the human mind, the people, of various aspects of what goes on inside of you, your mind and your body. The 12 tribes in the desert gathered around the tabernacle are actually the 12 cranial nerves of the brain, which are attached to the brain and gather around the center, which is the dwelling place of God within you, the temple inside of you. So the whole thing is laid out in the Bible is actually a description of the structure of the human brain mind, where God dwells. And that's extremely exciting, because then if you start You know, you start looking through all of this, from page to page. You realize you're looking at a psychology, anatomy, mystical, spiritual lesson about the inside of you. We looked at the biblical...